You don't know what a 747
You're about to
Yes, I do. That's the plane that we all
There's
fly.
a distinct thing. No, that's a 737.
737.
A 747 is very distinctive as it has a hump at the front. There are two stories. They're very old.
She's starting to do song and dance to distract us from the fact that she got schooled.
You just got rocked.
Oh, wait. So are these the ones that they have the 2 stories?
Yeah, he did just say
I'm
that
very
they have
sure
2
that's
stories.
what I just said.
You
I
did.
was
You
too
did
busy
specifically
with my
say that.
song.
Yeah, you're sort of always half listening to people. It's why a lot of your relationships are kind of low quality.
What the fuck?
Which relationship?
Hi, everybody. Welcome
Barely
to
got through that sentence.
AITA Pod. I'm Danny, joined by Shannon and Jake. And
Hello, I'm not that happy to be here anymore. Thanks to this man.
you are tired today, and we can feel that.
Jake.
I can't feel it. I feel like you're in a good mood.
I take that.
You two just love razzing each other.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to razz her.
Oh, you thought I was getting mad at him in the last episode.
To be fair, we were yelling at him pretty loud.
Well, no, she was checking out. I thought she was like, but you were taking a video, I guess. But I was like, what are you doing? You're on your
But
phone.
I was
we're-
also totally checking out.
Yeah, you were
too.
checking out. I can sense that.
Well, we kept hitting the same points
It was- we were
over and
circling.
over again. And I was just like, I have to stand up or I'm going to lose my shit right now.
Yeah. You get impatient with people a lot?
Oh, yeah. I don't really have very good patience. It's gotten better as I've gotten older. But there's sometimes I just get in these moods where it's like, if you've been sitting still for so long or like, it's just like, and I'm like, I need to like jump out the window right now.
People reiterating the same point drives me nuts. I get that. That does.
I mean, I know I was doing it too. So
How do you shut someone down? Because you've admitted you struggle with assertiveness. So like if someone's talking to you and you're ready to be done with the conversation, how are you going to escape that? Here, let's act it out. Let's act it out. Jake and I are 2 bros talking to you at a party.
at a party.
That's why the Chiefs are going to expose the Eagles on Sunday.
For fucking real, bro.
Kelsey's too superior of a
This
tight end.
guy can see the future of sports.
Yeah, I was almost a pro football player, actually.
yeah.
I totally would have gone pro, except I injured I got injured my meniscus.
His
that
meniscus.
accident.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to see my boobs?
What? Yeah, of
What?
course.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm in a committed relationship. That doesn't seem appropriate.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. Was she going to actually show us her boobs right there? You were just,
That's how you get out
Shannon,
of the.
did you not understand what we
That's
were
the way
doing?
that's the way to shut down a conversation.
No, what? I mean, you're taking it in a new direction now, but well, you know what? She's got us there.
What is
We
that
stopped
not what-
talking about
you
football.
guys stopped talking about it. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're so non-confrontational.
Here's
You
my
will-
naked body. That's your solution.
Exactly.
It worked. It did work.
It worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
No,
we
I'm
can-
joking around. When I'm like out and there's just like annoying guys, I just walk away.
Yeah,
Or-
that's a good way
I mean,
to
are
do
you
it.
were you guys my friends in that situation?
We didn't establish
we
it.
were no one's friends,
Yeah.
actually.
We're not even
I
each
don't wanna
other's
hang
friends.
out
Not
with
really. We're
those
like drinking
people.
buddies. We don't really connect. What?
I don't want to hang out with those people.
Yeah.
no.
But also, I do also have a very like Jersey side to me. Like I can be like
Yeah.
super like bitch.
Yeah, really?
Oh yeah.
Prove it. Like, what do you do?
Well, actually, there was this one situation where, so I went to a bar and I was meeting Max there, and this is when we were kind of newly dating within the year, and I wore a really long, like I had a wig for a comedy thing,
Okay.
and I had a long curly brown haired wig, and so I got there early. I was like dressed in this really cute outfit. I looked so good, and then I started chatting with this one girl who I became friends with at the bar because I was waiting for Max and his friends to come, and I was going to play this little trick on him.
Yeah.
And so then this girl and I are talking about it, and I like told her what I was going to do. I was like super excited about it, and then so then I like kind of. Max finally arrives and I like stand sort of next to him. And then the girl like goes up to Max and goes, "Do you know that girl? Do you know her?" And like totally ruined.
Stomped on your bit.
Stomped on my bit. Like I was going to try and do this whole thing where I like go up to him, like next to him at the bar, like have him, like check me out, blah, blah, blah. and she ruined it. And I was so mad. I was so pissed off that I didn't get to like surprise him. And I was like, nope, you ruined it. Yeah, bitch, you fucking ruined it. And I was like going off on her. And Max was like, Shannon, it's fine. Like, I was still surprised. It's really great. Like, you can chill out. And I was like, nope, don't talk to me. Keep walk away.
That's what gets the jersey out?
Yeah.
She just stepped on a bit.
I was pissed. I put a lot of effort into that.
I guess.
And she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, nah, you ruined it.
She said sorry right away.
Oh my God. Wow. Fangs out, Shannon.
Don't fuck with my little bits, okay?
You can disrespect me.
Yeah, all you
can
want.
spit. You can spit on my family's name. But the second you get in front of one of my fucking bits, it's for life.
I didn't know you were so, because you kind of make fun of me for making jokes sometimes. I didn't know you cared so much about the bit.
Well, I put a lot of effort into it, and I thought it was just going to be like really fun and sexy, and she just ruined it.
Yeah, no, we heard the story, but.
Oh, actually, we have a little bit of an AITA from Fordo's the other day.
What happened at Porto's?
Your story about the cake woman.
Yeah, that was great. I was at Porto's. I was picking up some lunch for some accounts, and the way Porto's is set up, if you've never been there, you can do your orders online. So it's okay. This is how all restaurants work.
Porto's is like fake Cuban food for anyone wondering. It's pretty.
Really?
I mean,
It's founded by Cubans, a Cuban
We
family.
should go there as like a little bonding time.
yeah, I love it.
It is one of LA's culinary installations. I love how Porto's represents the city, its history with it, and just like what it means to people from the greater LA area.
And it's always fucking packed. Forget
always
it.
Wait,
packed.
tell the AITA.
So I order ahead when I'm picking up lunch for accounts, which means I can just pick it up from online orders, and the line's always super short when you do that. If you try to roll up to Porto's,
you're waiting in line.
You're waiting in line.
It's crazy.
It's absurd to think that you won't be waiting in a line. So I'm standing behind this woman who I can tell she doesn't seem to be in the right place, and she says, yes, I would like to buy a cake. And somebody is like, oh, did you order online? No, I want to buy a cake. And just like, well, this is the online order. And I can tell that this woman is about to start an argument, but is registering, I'm probably going to lose this, because she points up at a giant sign that says cakes and says, well, you have that giant sign that says cakes right there. And then to this Porto's employee's credit, they said, yeah, and we also have the people up front who tell you where the online orders are and where the in-store orders are. And that's the in-store order line. And they gestured to the huge ass line. And it was kind of cool to see somebody choose not to be an asshole and just accept.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I get.
I thought she went off.
No, she was about to and realized like I am not winning this fight, and then retreated to the back of the line. But seeing her register how long the line she was about to get into that was when she turned around, and I thought there was fire in her eyes. And one of the only things that can get me to interact in other people's exchanges or when you're shitty to people who are working and just trying to do their job. I'm almost always going to get involved in those situations. And I was just so fucking relieved I didn't have to. And
maybe she listens to the pod.
And she was just like,
she knows.
That's that guy who ruined the podcast. I liked it so much more when Sarah was on it.
Now there's
she's smart too.
Fuck, if I say anything, I'm gonna turn
on
into
the
some
pod.
silly little voice for this guy. He's gonna turn me into one of his little voices.
When that unhinged ditz. Ugh. So we just had a really funny. Was that too far, Shannon? No, we just had a really funny misunderstanding because I was thinking Shannon should read the situations. Because it would be good on TikTok and stuff. And
listen what he writes in the top of our
I wrote in our doc, Shannon should read more as an experiment.
That was under our to-do list, number one.
Which Shannon interpreted as like she
for days now. I thought he was going to tell me
she needs to read more books.
I still just crack up thinking about Danny alone in his room of like, I'm going to get Shannon to read a book. See what happens.
Come on, Shannon.
I thought it was going to be like she'll be able to talk more eloquently on the pod. Her vocabulary will be better. I was like, wow, I can't wait to hear what this experiment is.
Yeah, when you brought it up, I was like, that's what we literally just did. Like you just read all the situations.
You're going to give her Marxist literature and just see how it impacted her politics.
Yeah, please.
See if she'll be a ditz by the end of the year.
There you go. Could happen to any one of us. Well, let's get right into this thing. I mean, guys, we really kind of went at it about supporting your partner, and it was fun. And I actually found quite a few other situations that I thought were really interesting. I think it's a timeless topic because we all have to support people in our lives, our friends, our partners, our family. But then sometimes maybe we don't want to do that shit.
That's true.
And it's interesting, all the dualities of that. AITA, our second situation of the day. AITA for not lying for my wife in front of her friends regarding me being a stay-at-home parent. But first, folks, AITA for not acting impressed by my wife's accomplishment. My 28M wife, 26F, and I have been married for close to 7 years. We currently have 5 kids together, 6M, 4M, 3F, and my wife gave birth to fraternal twins, son and daughter, a year and a half ago. My wife intended to graduate high school the year we got married, but life got in the way. My dad had given me an investor relations type of role at his company, so we were traveling a lot, and then after that, our kids needed our attention. After our twins were born, my wife was bedridden for longer than we and even the doctors expected. Since we had to hire extra hands to do the childcare tasks that involved mobility, my wife had some time on her hands. Her mother told her that her friend who proctors at a testing center said they give GED tests basically every week, and that she should dust off her gen ed education. She started browsing her laptop and decided to enroll in a GED prep class. It seems she was better at self-paced learning than classroom learning because the stuff they were testing her came way easier to her now than it did, even though she's been away from structured classroom instruction for many years. Even after she was back on her feet, she'd be studying for it after she dropped the older two off to their respective schools. I would see what she was studying, and it looked pretty rudimentary, and I knew that getting a GED basically means nothing, and that she probably wouldn't be able to apply it to anything career-wise or commit full-time to community college, where I doubt the job prospects for students are that great right now either. So my wife ended up taking the test, and the other day she bounded into the room and said, "Yes, I passed." I knew she would since she was doing well on the practice test, and the GED consistently tests on the same rudimentary topics. I did not gripe at her, but merely nodded at her and went back to answering an important email from a client. My wife was upset. I asked her what was wrong. She said I didn't seem excited that I said that it's great that she passed, but I've been telling her that it was easy and no big deal. But if she needed something to prove to herself she knew the high school concepts, I guess the money was well spent. She got even more upset and said she worked very hard and this was the essential building blocks to being able to start a career. My wife passed her GED test, but she wasn't exactly graduating from college and wouldn't be for at least 15 years. I just didn't see any immediate applicability to her test, but I'm glad she had something to challenge her while she was coming off being unable to fully care for the kids. AITA.
Well, first of all, I just want to share a little situation that just happened right before here. Is Jake's lovely girlfriend, Jackie, just came home from taking an extremely difficult test, but it doesn't even matter if it's a GED or a business school test. GRE. But Jake got up, immediately hugged her, told her how proud he was of her. We all celebrated her as well. But that is a good example of how to be a supportive partner. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how rudimentary something is, you should always celebrate your partner's wins because she studied her ass off for this. And I don't care how rudimentary and basic you think that this test is. I'm sorry, but I don't remember a lot of the stuff that I learned in high school. If I would definitely need to study terms and, clearly I need to study terms because I can't think of another word for it.
That's why I wrote you need to read more.
No.
If you put a gun to my head right now and said, do algebra, I'm dead. I'm just like, all right, just put it between my eyes,
really?
bud.
2x equals 6? You can't solve for X?
Okay. You know what I'm talking about. When algebra starts getting like into its jazz forms.
Yeah.
It's just like, beat up. Just throwing fucking symbols at you that you've never seen before.
Sure.
I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. This is such a pissant way to respond to a loved one accomplishing something. And I think it says a lot about where you're at with your own self-confidence if you're willing to be this demeaning about something
exactly.
like this.
I think that is spot on. And I see this all over the place. People who are very hard on themselves tend to struggle to celebrate others. And it is all over the place. I see it constantly. Like, and it's sad because you see into their own life. They don't see themselves as adequate or good. And so for some reason it could be, I mean, honestly, doesn't it seem like he's a little threatened?
Oh, absolutely.
Repeatedly emphasizing that it's rudimentary. You know, it's like he's almost forcing it to be a non-accomplishment. It's like,
if your partner views your accomplishments as steps towards you not needing them anymore, which is what it kind of sounds like here, that's a bad time. That's a bad time.
That sucks.
Yeah, not cool.
I think cultivating self-love is really important. I said it, people, because you'll be able to be nicer to everyone around you, you know? Like, honestly, like, I'm at a point where I don't have any, like, hang-ups about comedy and stuff, and my friends that I have in comedy are, like, people I love, and I'm never jealous or anything. I'm like, that's so great. I'm legitimately happy for you. Congrats. You know, I feel like when you're in it sometimes, or when I was in it, at least I was a lot more, like, petty and bitter because I was unhappy, and I also had no holistic health, right? Like that was all I was doing. So everyone's win was like my loss. And
Definitely.
so you've got to look inside anytime that you struggling to be happy for the people around you. Your wife that you have 3 kids with, you can't give her this.
Yeah.
You gotta get good at something at that point.
And
that's all there is to it.
Yeah. And when he says things like, I would see what she was studying and it looked pretty rudimentary. And I knew that getting a GED basically means nothing and that she probably wouldn't be able to apply to anything career-wise. Like, that's not true at all.
It's just such a negative outlook. Like,
so negative. And so cruel.
And also, like, can we please grade on a curve here? Like, look, I mean, everybody has to start with a high school diploma or GED.
Exactly.
She's 26 years old. At least she's doing fucking something, dog. You can't give her any credit for that. Like, it's just it's awful. It's an awful way to live your life.
She's raising 5 children and doing that. That's a pretty damn good accomplishment.
Oh, it's 6, 4, 3, and fraternal twins
that are a year and a half years old.
I think getting a GED while you're doing that's like getting an MD. That's so many fucking
insane.
kids.
Yeah, and you guys are so young. Like, you guys had your children so young. You got married really, really young. Like, she was like 19 when you guys got married.
Hey, maybe she didn't fucking finish school because you were fucking her and making all these babies, you motherfucker.
Great point.
Jesus, man.
It's like you want to keep her down.
I think so. Actually, I mean, I think that's usually I would say you're like not playing it, but like this guy is like really the repeated rudimentary.
I would love to see you try and pass this test.
Yeah, take it with nothing.
I think it's a fair reach. Very fair
reach.
Fair reach.
Okay.
To say that this guy doesn't know how to read. I don't think he knows how to read. I think he's scared of the mask being pulled off. And now, my wife she's got her GED pretty soon. My jig is up. She's going to know I don't know how to read and I've been faking it this whole time.
Metaphorically, I actually agree with you that is how he feels, that he actually knows that she's better than him probably on some level. And like he has her trapped. I think you guys are nailing that. It looks like a comment kind of agrees with this. Training Mud 3388 writes, it's still YTA, but the A stands for abuser here. It's a lot. I think this guy is a major douche nozzle. This does evoke a thing that I was told in my relationship, and it was really hard to hear, and it was really mean, is that, you know, I was unemployed almost all of 2019. Not a happy camper. Started the podcast in that time, so that was good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was one thing I did. And I then got a job, and it was like the best job I'd ever had. And my partner at the time would repeatedly say like stuff like, you don't have a real job, or like you don't make a real amount. It was average. That was a word. She would be like, you don't make an average amount of money. And I was like, I actually make more than like the median household worth. Like I have a really good salary. And she's like, well, it's not like what I'm looking at really. And I'd be like, you're wrong though. Like you're shitting on me and you're wrong.
Why would she even say that?
Even if it was average,
context?
she clearly doesn't have a grip on what average means.
Exactly. Well, I was like, you're not using that word right. You're in your circle's fine because, you know, she was a professional, but like it was brutal and it was really hard on me and it made me feel inadequate a lot. And yeah, like I think it's really fucked up. And when I look at it, it's because like she identified heavily with the fact that she made a lot of money. And so it had to be that way, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where the self-worth comes from. If I don't have this money, what am I?
Yeah, and you have to push others down to feel good about yourself.
Exactly. I had a great insight though about this. I was talking with someone. It made me realize though that like it made me have empathy for motherfuckers. So we all know those people who can't admit they're wrong and they can't say sorry.
Yep.
And it's because in their head, if they admit they're wrong, they don't realize that it could just be okay now. And it gave me empathy because it never had clicked in with me how scary that must have been to never be like all the time as a kiddo. Like I would fail in front of my parents, you know, and whatever. And they would be like, it's fine. You messed up, but we still love you and everything's good. And they never had that. And that's why they won't admit they're wrong or say sorry. And that's why they're quote unquote narcissists or whatever.
That's a good point.
And it made me feel for them. I was like, God, they've never had that. They never had a trampoline to jump on. They were jumping on the fucking asphalt.
Wait, what?
Well, if you land on a trampoline, it's like padded. I
thought you were saying when your parents were children, they loved the pastime of jumping on asphalt.
When we have conflicts in my family, we jump on a trampoline. Is that unusual? No, but it's that. Yeah, they were like, it was brutal.
I just like the idea of your dad just like, boy, howdy, I'm telling you, I'm going to go out to that asphalt and I'm going to jump till I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a weird house. No, but. Yeah, so I think we're all lined up here. We can read a couple comments. Aesthetic Mixtape, which is a great username.
Love it.
YTAOP, math here is making me nauseous. Married almost 7 years, oldest child 6, so he knocked her up and married her, preventing her from graduating. Then kept her pregnant several more times. No wonder her last pregnancy was so hard. Even twin complications aside, 4 full-term pregnancies in 6 to 7 years is so rough. WTF, so she can't leave. Ugh.
Did the math for us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really fair read, honestly. I think a good partner facilitates your autonomy. A good partner should say, like, I want you to improve yourself. I want you to become better. I'm here to help you do that. You know, I don't love, I guess what does bother me a little bit, now I'm getting nervous just saying this, but like then kept her pregnant. I always get a little bit weary when I read things like that because it removes all the agency from her.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, she's also responsible for her life. You know,
And there's nothing wrong with like having a lot of kids and being young. Like if that's what you want to do. I mean, I personally don't want to do it. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. But, you know, that in itself doesn't mean that their life is terrible. It's just clearly the way he treats her. And if he treats her like this in other areas of their life, that's kind of telling about what their relationship is like.
I do think I'm comfortable throwing the A word here. I do think this guy's abusive because this is so fucking mean.
He tells on himself too, right at the end, where he demeans it as a little distraction while she was out of commission from her real job being a mother. He really lays his cards down on the table, and I don't think he realizes he does, but he qualifies her sole reason to exist as being a mom, which is not up for him to decide, and refers to the whole process of GED as like a little distraction, like she got into solving puzzles. And he's terrified. He knows that something as simply awesome as somebody getting their GED and finishing that branch of their education, something like that's terrifying you. Oh, dude, you're going to fucking hate it when she has some friends at that new job that she gets from this GED, because guess what, fucker? A GED can help you get a really damn good job.
Definitely. You don't even need a college diploma these days anymore to get a good job.
Well, I hear you for sure. I think that it's like, it's so shitty that I think I know it's that. You're right. We're coming out of this idea that like to get good jobs, you need to have a college degree. But I know it some jobs.
I know there are for a lot. I guess with my experience, like as an actor, like I didn't fucking need to go to college.
And I'm also coming at it from a point of view where like so many people in my line of work didn't have a college degree and make like crazy fucking money.
Right. There's a lot of people in the entertainment industry, like specifically, since that's like my world, that like they didn't go to college.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needs to be practical. I mean, I think he is underselling that this is practical. And if it's not practical in and of itself, it's a stepping stone to getting a degree, like to going to community college.
But yeah, that's such a good point, because even if it wasn't anything that's like going to get her somewhere else, even if she like
just wanted to do it,
well, or just got did anything, like not even just like taking a test for something specific, but like, I don't know, any kind of accomplishment in life, even if it's like the smallest thing is like finishing. Help me out here, guys. What's another accomplishment?
Taking a personal trainer. You're going to train to be a personal trainer or whatever.
Yeah.
We thought of one.
Or even.
We thought of one accomplishment. Becoming a personal
There's 2 accomplishments. You can pass a GED or you can become a personal trainer. That's all the ones. No.
End of the list.
Or also getting a personal trainer and not having worked out in a while and getting through your first personal training thing. If you come home and you're like, oh my God, I did it. Your partner should be like, hell yeah, you did.
Or, dumping your shitty partner and taking the kids and leaving and starting a cool new life elsewhere. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, that's a great accomplishment.
Fuck this guy
for
big
this
time.
gal.
I do think though, and I like to bring this up because I think we're so in like late capitalism that everything is viewed as a tool to acquire more capital. And like, I had a teacher who said this, and he's like, do you really want to live in a society where people don't know anything? Like, there's a value to education that is greater than just how much money you're able to extract from the fucking system. Like, this is an enriching thing. You're forced to learn about science and various topics and algebra. And people, I forgot. Well, maybe you forgot the specific thing, but you learned how to think. You didn't forget what fucking gravity was. Now, did you? And like, we forget, like, we're privileged in a sense as modern humans, but like before books, before the printing press, everyone was dumb as shit and said insane things, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that's true." Yeah.
Well, we weren't all
are
stupid
evil.
before the printing press.
Dude, yeah, we pretty much
everyone.
were. Not everyone, right? The bourgeois.
Right.
Well, stupid.
The bourgeois, the wealthy were
I would
the
say
educated
ignorant,
people.
maybe not stupid, but ignorant, like didn't know information.
Well, the reality is that in today's information world, despite all the fucking algorithms, making everybody an anti-vaxxer, like everybody has access to information. We totally take it for granted. But like, if you were a peasant in feudal Europe, like your main focus was like fucking, tilling the farm. You didn't know about nothing.
Best not let crows near the barley or it'll go bad by December.
That's all you said. You said it on loop. You were like a video game character. Those are the only words you fucking knew, like, and art and all these things. That was all the bourgeois. That was the rich people.
I think when you said we were all stupid before printing presses, my mind immediately went back to like Plato, and it was like, yeah, he was a good philosopher, an important philosopher, but Plato was also just like, the sun is a chariot.
Well, Plato was the printing press.
Yeah.
Who was exposed to Plato's work in Plato's time? The people who knew Plato.
Yeah,
like if you wanted to hear about Plato's theory, somebody had to go tell you, and they probably didn't have it straight.
Yeah.
They're like, there's a bunch of people in a cave, and that shit is crazy. I'm like, what? I don't know what that means. No, it's fucking dark as shit in there, bro. Like, what does it mean? Shannon doesn't get this reference. She needs to read more. Guys, AITA. Do you get it? Do you know it? The Shadows in the Cave?
No, I don't.
AITA for not acting impressed by my wife's accomplishment.
Just because it was like I wasn't laughing at it, so it's like I obviously don't know it.
Well, I asked you if you
it
knew
was
it.
so funny.
Well, you didn't know the reference. That's
This
all I was asking.
guy.
You're being a little defensive. A little bit.
It's okay. You didn't know about. I studied philosophy. It's okay.
Danny did study philosophy.
That's all I have, Shannon. AITA for not acting impressed by my wife's accomplishment. I think we all agree it's a whopping YTA.
I do think the phrase, what the fuck have you done lately, would probably destroy this guy to his core, because that's what he asks himself every fucking day in the mirror.
The one defense I had of him as well, it's like they were both children when they got married and had all these kids. And like, look, I get it. Some people want it. Some people want it early. But like, I think it's a risky thing. And you get two people who are ultimately like not fully developed and don't know themselves. And now they're making and raising other people. Like it's a very tough situation. I don't judge people who do that. But like, he, of course, is an undeveloped male. He also was, by his own volition and hers, thrust into a parental role at a very, very young age. But like, it's very high intensity.
Yeah.
Like, I'm over here finding myself at 33. I'm eat, praying, loving the shit out of life. Well, this motherfucker's got 5 kids.
Can't even remember how many kids he's got.
It's a lot.
He's referring to the twins as a single entity.
Yeah. Shannon, are we okay?
Yes.
You seem a little checked out.
No, I'm just.
Are you upset?
No.
You be good?
Yeah.
I have a confession to make.
What?
I didn't get the cave in the shadows joke either. I know what it is. I know what
Thank
Plato's
you.
cave is. I don't know the details of it.
Well, you know what it's about, right?
I know the thing. I don't know the intricacies about it. Like I know the allegory.
What's the main mess? Yeah, the allegory. That's the key
There's
thing.
people in a cave.
No, dude, that's not it.
What is?
It's the idea that it's the Matrix. It's literally the Matrix.
Ah.
So the Matrix is the idea that it's a fake world, that you're fed all the idea of the Matrix, but it's not really the real world. The people in the cave think the shadows. So there's the people in a cave and there's like finger puppets or whatever in front of like a fire, and they think the shadows are real. They don't know anything else. They just know the shadows.
Yeah, I straight up just thought that Plato's cave was like a way to refer to a place where people think, because I thought Plato had a fucking cave where he was just like, everybody get in here, we're going to do some philosophizing today. So I by being honest, I clearly did not understand how Plato's cave worked, because I just thought that was the cave that Plato hung out in, and that's where he did all of his philosophizing.
Hey, we all went to Arizona State. So
yeah, man, I didn't major in philosophy. All right, I majored in communications, which is basically just learning how to be agreeable. That was the best thing I ever did, transferring out of the business course and going into communications. Holy shit, that made college so much better.
Wait, what was your major before? What did you say?
I was in business.
Business.
Business. I was. It was focus was on marketing, but I honestly like. I underperform at math. Like I'm well below the average capacity for math, which is why I made the algebra joke. But like literally, I was usually a year behind in school for math. And like the fact that I was able to pass through the requirements I had at ASU just for communications, that was a huge accomplishment for me. I cried when I passed my last math class.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this before, because I cried when I found out that I had to take a math class senior year.
Yeah, that's brutal. I'm so
my
sorry.
mom had like promised me that I was done freshman year. I had to do like one gen ed. And she was like, I promise you, this is your last math class ever. And then senior year, the one was like, oh no, you need another math class. College.
Oh shit.
Wow.
And I literally cried.
I was done with math by junior year, and that last senior year was fucking amazing. To just not have a class where I legitimately was fighting for my fucking life every day to have an inkling of what was going on in class. Really lucked out with that one.
All right, here we go, people. AITA for not lying for my wife in front of her friends regarding me being a stay-at-home parent. When my wife and I decided to start a fam, she expressed she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So we made a plan and set everything up so that she could stay home during the early years. We had our first kid, but she didn't do too well being stay at home and had a hard time with it. We still wanted our kids to have a parent at home with them, so we swapped out since her salary was close to mine. 2 kids later, I'm still the stay-at-home dad working reduced hours remotely. For me, it's easier than any job I've had in the past, even the manual labor one, but I recognize that's just my personal experience. We've touched base on the issue a few times to make sure there's no resentment, guilt, or discomfort in either of our parts. One of her friends from her work invited us and other couples over for dinner. While there, the other couples were talking about childcare in general, and some of the women started sharing their experiences of when they were home. My wife was talking about how she had disliked it and mentioned our arrangement when one of the women said to me, "Oh, I know you're just itching. I know you're just itching to get back to having it easy." I responded that I already have it easy, and that for me, being a stay-at-home dad was a cakewalk compared to my office job. I didn't see the point in agreeing with something that just isn't true for me. On the way home, my wife asked why couldn't I have just agreed with the question and played along. I asked her if she felt bad or guilty that she had a hard time with it, and she said no. So I told her to just forget about it, because there's no reason for me to lie to make a bunch of other people feel better so long as it's fine between us. When she got home from work yesterday, she had some attitude asking me if I had another easy peasy day and told me how all day she had to hear from her friends what a smug asshole I was for making light of their experience by saying it was a cakewalk. I get that for a lot of people it's hard, but I don't see why I should have to lie about it or fluff someone's ego for not feeling the same way.
I think such a recurring theme in all these is you're asking for trouble when you're I just feel like you're not going to get anything good out of trying to get people to validate how you feel about something or to validate like your own experience with something. Like if you're, I think you're just setting yourself up for an argument in a lot of situations.
Because you're saying because the women, the women were sharing their experience of when they were home. And then one of the women said to OP, oh, I know you're just itching to get back to having it easy.
But also but it goes both
so
ways.
They were seeking the validation?
But they're both seeking the validation because he is kind of shitting on them by like they're looking for validation from him that what they do was difficult. He was trying to elevate himself above it by calling it easy. You can say like, oh, I don't need to pretend to fluff up other people's egos. It's like you could have just played along with the joke. You could have avoided the argument. And I think that like him doing that instigates the fight. Like you're picking a fight here and you don't necessarily have to like, yeah, like call it fluffing up the egos if you want. I call it just avoiding this fucking situation. This is why you just say, haha, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that's not really that. They said, oh, I know you're just itching to get back to having it easy. And he said, oh, I already have it easy. For me, being a stay-at-home dad is a cakewalk compared to my office job. I honestly feel like that's more about his office job.
But I think you are like, I think the unnecessary escalation is like, it's easy compared to my job. That's where you are kind of like taking a little piss on somebody.
Yeah, I think like the cakewalk, calling it a cakewalk is like a little bit more like a shot fired.
No, he says compared to my office job. He was relating his personal experience.
But aren't all of these women stay-at-home moms? Is that what I'm getting?
I thought they all worked at the same place.
The women started sharing their experiences of when they were home.
Oh, of when they were home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like for anyone to take this as a barb,
yeah,
it's kind
if they're
of
not
like
stay-at-home moms, then why are they getting like mad at him about it?
That's where I'm saying there's so much blame to go around here because they are choosing to take it personally. I do think that he was careless with how he phrased his words, and I think that this whole thing, he was the person in position that could have avoided the situation, and he didn't. And you know, I don't think he handled it perfectly, but they are choosing to take this in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
So there's blame to go around here, in my opinion.
I also feel like you're setting yourself up for success. They frame this as a comparison.
That's what I was trying to say.
You basically aimed a gun at yourself and they got mad that someone pulled the trigger. It's like, oh, Jake, I bet you're itching to get back to your easy weed job. It's like, well, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like
I didn't think about that. You're kind of shitting on his job.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. I missed that for sure. And people think my job has to be like, oh, you sell drugs all day. So I get that a lot. But I don't really care because it's like, yeah, my job's pretty fucking sick. It's high pressure. Sales sucks in a lot of regards, but like, I'm fucking lucky to have the
He's
job
actually being modest. They're saying, I know you're itching to get back to having it easy, implying the office job is easier.
Right.
And then he's going like, oh no, I already have it easy. I like my life and I have it good. This is a cakewalk compared to what I used to do.
I love that attitude.
How is that being shitty? If they take that personally, that's not on him.
How is that being a smug asshole? Like you're just saying that you enjoy your life as a stay-at-home dad, which is a really great thing. You get to spend time with your kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it is a lot of work. I mean, none of us are parents, but I know it's exhausting.
Nah, I got 2 cats. It's
mentally, like mentally, emotionally. One of my best friends has a kid with another one on the way, like, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and I know it's definitely difficult for her. But the fact that this guy is enjoying his time, I don't really see how that's being a smug asshole.
I think what I see here is that anyone who's offended by this is like into I'm very busy culture.
Oh yeah.
They need this. This is part of their identity, right? I think that what this is it's a threat to them, the idea that this is easy, because it's not easy for them. It's probably not. They're probably doing much more. And in fact, OP does detail what he does. Scheduling, appointments, taking kids where they need to be, grocery list, school stuff, making sure payments for bills come out, vehicle maintenance, organizing date nights, finding babysitters, figuring out what needs to be done. That falls on me. She keeps tracks of dates important to her family. Okay, yeah. I mean, all pretty normal human stuff that, like, I mean, how many kids do they have? I don't think we know.
86
kids.
An obscene amount.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of people I think there's a big gap. I obviously think that being a stay-at-home parent can be a full-time job. Totally. Being a homemaker can be a full-time job. I mean, you know, your house is so well done, Jake. I know some of that's you, but every time I'm in a person's house that isn't like mine, I'm like, wow, my house fucking sucks. But I think what I see here is my life is hard, and if you don't validate that, I think you hit that right away, then I'm going to take that offensively. And I think people who live that way are actually not in touch with themselves at all.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't like your life. It's not about OP.
I've always bristled, and it took me forever to figure out why, but I've always bristled at people who factor in like how many hours a week they spend working as part of their self-worth of like 40-hour-a-week job. Nice part-time you got there. I'm grinding 60, 70 hours a week. It's like, oh, so you're shitty at your job.
Toxic. Yeah.
You're bad at this. Or if you can't get your job done in a reasonable amount of hours, you're not good at it. And I've met
no, but their boss might just be like working. Yeah,
you don't know the culture, but yeah, some people.
I'm saying this is specifically for sales. I'm coming at this from a sales.
Okay.
Right.
When I meet people who brag about how many hours they spend out in the field or whatever, it's like, you need to get better at this because you shouldn't be spending
streamline this process, babe.
And I think that a lot of the bros you meet out in most of the working world, they factor in a lot of like hours spent. Obviously, like 10,000 hours to master something. I'm not talking about jobs where like the more time you spend, the better you get at doing it. I'm talking about jobs that you should be done before the sun is down. And if you're not proving that you work harder or you want it more than anybody. You're just proving you're ineffective at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people, I was one of these people. I mean, I that was a big lesson of like Q1 2022 for me. I went all in on work and it caused a lot of problems with me. I didn't have a lot going on. And so I threw myself at work and work can only give you so much sometimes. So like, I get it, but I think that's what I see with this response is that they are over identifying with their struggle. And it's like, well, why is your life so hard? Why do you identify as having a hard life? Why is that necessary? Why is it necessary for you to such a point where you need someone else to be like, yes, your life is hard. You poor, poor woman, you know, like, what is that?
Yeah, it's something about older generations, and I see it in our generation too. It just depends on who raised you and how you process the world. So I don't think it's age specific, but like we tie productivity so heavily into our self-worth and our value and what it means. So if you're not working hard, you're not worth anything. That is the subtext of so much culture that we live in right now.
Yeah, I'm on about that. Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. Hustle culture. It's just so
it's toxic. Exhausting. And that's what I'm talking about when I say like maybe you're not really good at the thing that you do. I'm not saying that like if you have a job that requires you to work that much, that's your job and that fucking sucks and you have my respect. But you're not worth more because you're spending that much time doing your job.
Right. There's The Office. They have like a quote from that, Michael Scott. He's talking about Jim and he's like, he's not a good worker. What he does
he'll accomplish a task in half the time it takes me to do it. And I think that's kind of what I'm talking about here is like the amount of time commitment you're putting into something doesn't mean that you want it more than anybody else. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad at it. But in that instance, and I think in a lot of instances, it's like if you're working 60 hours a week when you could have only been working 40, you're doing that to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get more out of your 40.
You have a shitty boss, and
unless
you're really like it's your business and you're hustling
and you love doing it. But at that point, don't tell me that you're like chopping off limbs to survive. You're doing it because you love it and it brings you joy and like the rush of building something that is something you want to be doing. So I have a hard time.
It'll have a payoff in the long run.
Right. It's something that you are excited to put yourself into, and if you're not, then like, man, get happy. Life's too short to chase your tail around a tree.
Scrabbleman writes, I'm going to go against the grain and say ESH. Your wife and her friends shouldn't be salty, but read the room. If everyone is venting how hard something is, saying, actually, I find it really easy, will not be likable. You could have just said that you were happy being a stay-at-home dad without volunteering, quote, this thing that you're struggling with right now is super easy for me, which isn't generally polite. I think that's a misread because I think venting actually is usually an intimate thing. I don't think it's really appropriate to vent with a group of people in a
kind of... It depends. Like it's appropriate to if you're with your coworkers.
If they're all friends, yeah, definitely. Oh my God, whenever I always feel bad for anyone that's like hanging out with, like when I had a more normal job and we would all my coworkers and I'd hang out and then say it was like another friend was there. I'd always feel so bad for them because all we'd be talking about is like venting about work.
Right.
So does that kind of support what I'm saying? It's like a little dicey.
What's Stacey about it?
Just that
doing it in front of someone else.
I think you should be a little conscious about when you vent and where you vent and who you vent with, because like it's normal, it's something we all need to do, but like like if you guys were wanting to vent, that'd be fine, but like I don't know, there's certain people that if they vented with me, I'd be like, I don't know why you think this isn't appropriate for our relationship. So I don't know, I just don't read that into this situation. It seems Where were they? Where was this going down? You invited people over for dinner. That's not a venting
and
night.
Other couples for dinner. Yeah.
You got to put on a face a little bit and be a person, not be a venter.
I'm also always kind of like, you know, like if you're a parent and you're complaining about how hard it is to be a parent and like just like how much this sucks, like it's like I'm not the I don't want to hear this from you. You're a parent. You chose this. Like you're not, like we've been saying it repeatedly, but you're not getting any sympathy from me for this.
No one wants to hear it.
Nobody told you that this would be an easy thing that you did. Yeah, it's being a parent.
Well, and I think, look, maybe I'll throw a new term. I might have just coined this motherfucker. We all know about workaholism.
Yeah.
I submit kidaholism. It's the same thing, right? It's like you're going too hard at work because working does give you some validation, but then it gets diminishing returns once you hit that 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, and people can get addicted to the cycle of work. Likewise, investing time in your children is a good thing, just like investing in work is a good thing. But eventually you got to let the motherfuckers breathe a bit and have some autonomy. And, you know, there could be homoholism too. And it's like you go too hard into this. You're micromanaging your children. You're reducing their autonomy. And guess what? You're denying yourself. So you're fucking everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
AITA for not lying for my wife in front of her friends regarding me being a stay-at-home parent. If it was a vent sesh, I could definitely ding here. But I just felt like OP was sharing what he felt, and a bunch of people who are not happy about the fact that they are like working too hard at homemaking got really hurt by it. And I just don't feel like what he said was hurtful.
I'm still going ESH. You could have avoided the fight. It was you could have avoided this. I think that that I don't understand how any breathing adult couldn't see how this is kind of throwing a dynamite into the lake. I think that you had a chance to avoid this and you didn't. I don't think you were a huge asshole or anything, but I do think it was an unnecessary tense situation.
But Jake, they made it personal, and OP responded to their accusation.
Yeah,
you're just itching. They weren't talking about them. They weren't talking about the general principle. They said, you're just itching to get back to having it easy. And he said, no, I already have it easy. For me, being a stay-at-home dad was a cakewalk compared to my office job.
Also, there's nowhere that says that he was going back to work, right? So they're just like making a weird assumption.
Yeah, they assumed, and he denied their assumption. You know, there's no evidence here that this was event sesh. Am I missing something? I really am.
And why does he have to agree with them that he doesn't enjoy being at home? He's like, I do enjoy it.
When I say ESH, I'm still sticking with it. It's soft, but I think that you were in a position where you could have just avoided this blowout, and you didn't. And I don't think you did anything super wrong, but I think that I just feel like it's really easy to read this room and know that you're going to step on toes by saying this, and you could have just not
I get
done
that
it.
too.
So I think that they are more sucky than he is, but I just feel like he could have avoided the landmine, and he didn't. And it's not the biggest deal in the world. I think it's ridiculous that they're still talking about it the next day. And
this passive aggressive, asshole. Another easy peasy day.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
I know, I was thinking that.
It's
I could go soft ESH.
That's all shitty and everything. I just think it was very easily to avoid.
The cakewalk thing, like.
Yeah, that part's.
We don't know what his office job was. It's a personal statement.
Yeah, but he is also kind of dinging them by being like, "Oh,
I think it's just being obtuse. I think
right.
I think you were willfully
your jobs
obtuse.
your jobs must be so easy." Like it's kind of like
he has
putting them all on a scale. No, he didn't have the same job. It's a different
you're
job.
saying that he's implying.
So by implying that he thinks that being a stay-at-home dad is way easier than his job. So then that is kind of saying, and they think that their job is a lot harder than being a stay-at-home mom. So then he's basically saying that their job is really fucking easy.
Yeah. I think he's being obtuse. I think he knew that he was kind of shooting back a little bit, and I think he's playing a little dumb in how he writes this up of like, what did I say? And it's like, you know, you could have avoided this, and you didn't necessarily do anything wrong, but I just think that this was an easy one to avoid.
The other couples were talking about childcare, and some of the women started sharing their experiences of when they were home. So then I guess now that they all work.
That is a dig at their jobs. Well, I really think it is.
Because so then what she said, you're just itching to get back to having it easy. That was a compliment because what he's doing now is hard.
Right, but he's saying
so he went against the grain.
He's calling their office jobs like really easy, and they should like stop complaining.
No. Yes, now you're biting off more than you can chew.
Well, didn't you see my chart that I just did?
What? No.
You didn't see that?
Folks at home, Shannon's chart was her hands.
She raised her hands up like a bear begging for honey.
Look, this is a chart.
I guess I'm supposed to see a chart there.
Look, there's a chart here. Okay. His job. I'll do it.
He didn't say
his job. Being a stay-at-home dad, their job. So if he's saying that, I already explained it. All the listeners back at home understand.
They saw the chart.
Yeah, they saw it.
I'm sorry, I can't.
But I think he's dinging at their office job.
No, he's not. He said, "I have it easy," and that for me, being a stay-at-home dad was a cakewalk compared to my office job.
Right,
that's
and they're
a personal
complaining
statement.
about how difficult their office jobs are. And
they're saying the office jobs are easy.
Yeah, they're calling.
They're saying the parenting's
easy.
hard.
Oh, right.
For me, it just comes down to this is a social decorum issue, and I think you could have avoided this, and you just chose to shoot back, and now you're kind of playing dumb about like, what? I didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
I still do think that he is kind of dinging their jobs because he is saying that that his job was really difficult, and so their jobs must not be that difficult.
I think
they're fucking cripplingly insecure if that's how they interpret
I agree.
that.
They're super insecure. I think we're starting to chase our tail around the tree here a little bit. For me, it's just coming down to, did this argument need to happen? No, it didn't.
I agree.
Was it easily avoidable? Yes, it was.
I'm with you. He was being disagreeable because ultimately the woman was giving him a compliment. And he could have just taken the compliment and moved on. That said, I can't call someone an asshole for telling their truth. God damn it, that's his experience.
That's
why
they got
all
ESH.
butthurt about it. What?
That's why I like ESH, because it's not calling him an asshole. It's saying it sucks. It sucks a little bit. Soft ESH, harder ESH on the people who chose to react.
We're at
to it
ESH
that way.
NAH paradox. Well, no, because they got mad and made the comment. No, I can't, Jake. I'm sorry. I can't meet you there. That's okay. Let's move on. AITA for not lying for my wife in front of her friends regarding me being a stay-at-home. We got 2 soft ESHs, and I'm at NTA. I'm sorry. Wife and friends are.
No, I see how you're at that. I just like, for me, if I was somebody uninvolved with that at that party and I saw that going, I just would have been like, fuck, I want to leave. I don't want to be here when this gets worse.
If I did this and it hurt someone's feelings, I would say sorry.
Sure.
But I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to agree to the statement, yeah, I was being a huge asshole. I would be like, no, I wasn't being an asshole. You were hurt by what I said. I'm sorry I hurt you. End of conversation. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I did something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I shared my view.
Yeah, it bummed out the evening, but I think we're agreeing to disagree on this one. I see what you're saying, and I don't ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, I could go NTA too. Like, I don't like. I'm either.
Boom. All right, Jake.
Soft EASH, soft NTA.
Jake is going to wrap us up here on.
That's right, crazy kids. It's me, Jake. I'm reading the situation this time. AITA for not inviting my unsupportive sister to my wedding. I, 24F, got engaged to Derek, 30M, 1 month ago. Prior to that, we had known each other for 6 months. I know that's not a long time, but when you know, you know. We're madly in love and ready to commit ourselves to each other fully. My sister, 26F, has a problem with that, though. She was supportive of my relationship with Derek before we got engaged. When I sent her a text telling her we were engaged, she responded by saying, "Congratulations."
Period.
Quotation marks, period. But then when I saw her the week after that, she got all serious and said I should strongly consider the marriage. I believe that's supposed to be reconsider the marriage or consider it. I don't know. She told me I was young and could meet people I loved more. That was offensive to me because I love Derek more than anything. And she's basically saying my love isn't that important. She also told me that Derek and I could date for longer before we got married, but we are already fully committed to each other, so we might as well get married and be recognized as soulmates in the eyes of the law. Anyway, the conversation was so hurtful to me. I eventually asked her very directly, do you support me marrying Derek? She said no. So I stood up, told her she shouldn't be at the wedding if she didn't want us to get married, and left. I haven't talked to her since, although she has texted me multiple times asking to talk. Derek and I were working on the wedding guest list yesterday, and we both agreed my sister should not come if she doesn't support us. So we are planning not to invite her. I mentioned this to my friend yesterday, and she pointed out that it may be a little rude of me not to invite her. So, AITA for not inviting my unsupportive sister to my wedding.
I see a lot of problems here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, obviously, this seems like a marriage built on a very poor structure of a mere 6 months. But I've got to say, sister really dropped some major botches here.
Yeah.
Telling someone to strongly consider the marriage is simply not the way to go. And that wasn't even the biggest crime. That was ill-advised. Then she says, you're young and could meet people you love more.
Yeah, that's a weird
That's
thing.
straight up inappropriate. And it is offensive. And I understand why OP was offended. That's just...
That's like saying something about Derek specifically instead of just keeping it on you're a little too young and you've only been dating 6 months. I think that's what she should have left it at. Honestly, she mostly should have just said you've only been dating 6 months.
I would soup that up a little bit more.
Keep the young out of it,
yeah,
and just say it's a little soon.
I would.
If you guys want to be together for a long time, what's the rush?
I
get to know each other.
I'm with you. I would soup that up a little bit with a little bit of, I feel concerned that you are very young in making this decision. It is worrisome to me. Just couching it with a little bit of like, this is my perception of this. You know, when you offer things as like, you're too young, it's like, well, who died and made you the president of marriage?
You know what?
Right.
So I'm just going to say it. Older sis says the word young a little bit too many times in here. I don't think she wants little sister to beat her to the altar.
Oh,
I think that's fair.
I know that that's very caveman brain, but that's what I think is going on here.
Actually, with my mom has 2 older sisters, and she was actually she wasn't the first. She was the second to get married. My mom, she's the youngest, and the middle one got married first, and then my oldest aunt. When they called her to like tell her about it, she like took the phone and was just like, well, I guess I'll just be the old maid then, and threw the phone down.
I think that's a clean read. I think some hostility's coming through. She's 2 years older. She's also pretty young herself at 26. I also
6
feel like
months is that is a very brief
crazy.
window of time. And do it, I guess. Do it if you feel that. If you, yeah, I'm with you. But like, that's the thing is, I don't think I have anybody in my life that if I have friends where if Danny, if you met somebody who's just like been dating her 6 months, we're doing it, I'd probably be like, are you sure? But if you said, yeah, I'm sure. Okay. I'm not talking you out of that.
Yeah, but if it was your sibling, I feel like
maybe
it's just you gotta anything. We were talking about this with names, even naming a baby, picking a wedding venue. You just gotta watch your fucking mouth, because even a little slight comment like Rocky Point, that's for Arizona hillbillies, that might lock into their little brain for the rest of their damn lives because it's their big day and it's all about that day. So I think you got to take these conversations. You got to take them surgically, carefully. And you got to be really, really precise about what you say. And you got to word things like 6 months is very fast for a relationship. And I feel like this decision might not serve you well in the future. It's not that I don't like Derek. It's that I feel like you don't necessarily fully know Derek as well as you will later. And being very, very careful.
Right.
And I think that she was so aggressive that OP shut the fuck down and was like, I'm out. I'm not listening to you.
I have one ding on OP, and it's your strategy here. Your strategy here is flawed. You don't support me, I'm not inviting you to the wedding. Don't do that. If she doesn't support you, she's not going to come to the wedding. And if it is about her being jealous that you're marrying her first, she very well might not. This puts all of the social posturing in your favor, because if you invite her and she doesn't show up, she is definitely the asshole and everybody's in agreement with you. If you don't invite her, that leaves the window up for this to fester and be a huge fucking problem for the rest of your lives because you didn't invite your sister to their wedding. Doesn't matter if the sister's in the wrong, she is, but you have to send the invite and leave it up to her if she wants to come or grow the fuck up and come and then, you know, who knows if she's going to fucking sabotage it or whatever.
Just don't feel comfortable with her being there because she's not quote
and they're dumb little 20-year-old babies. Like, guess what? Nobody fucking cares about your, like, people aren't there to support you. They're there because you invited them to a wedding.
Right.
Like, nobody, by the way, in the eyes of the law that you're soulmates, law don't fucking care. Yeah. Law don't care about you being soulmates, just means you can file your taxes together. So
the law happily unites people that hate each other.
Yeah.
It does not.
So I think that I agree. I don't think that you're the asshole here. I think that you're being young if you think not inviting her is the move. And I'm saying this strictly from a strategy point of view. Make your life easier, invite her, and kind of get over yourselves a little bit of like, she doesn't support our love. You're not Romeo and Juliet. You're in your mid-20s and you want to make it official. Good for you. But some people are going to look at this funny. And I think that your sister needs to get over herself primarily. But if you don't invite her, you're opening up a long, drug out, festering fight over this topic.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that, where you said that the sister needs to get over herself, because I think it is a little bit of a reach what you were saying earlier, that maybe she's upset that her younger sister's getting married first. Because honestly, I think the sister's heart could really be in the right place. It is very soon to be getting married. Like, I'm looking back at like when I was 6 months into my relationship with Max, is like we at that point in our lives were saying to each other like that we feel like we could spend our lives together. Mm-hmm. Thank God that neither one of us is, you know, the type of person to rush into things, luckily, because then if we were them and we got married within the year, we ended up breaking up 2 years in. So we had a lot of problems because we didn't really know each other and we didn't know how each other operated. We had a lot we needed to learn about one another. And I don't think I even fully knew him until it was like 5 years in. And tomorrow's our 8th year anniversary, actually.
Congratulations.
Wait, 8 years, including the 2-year break?
Yeah. It was like for 2 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's 7 years. Just kidding. Happy 8 years.
What a dick.
But
if it was 2 years, there's a conversation to be had.
Yeah.
But I do think that the sister, you know, has very valid concerns. So I think in that scenario, like, you're kind of going off
agree.
of that she's
nobody contests that she has valid concerns.
The reason
he's saying
why
that she should get over herself.
I do think like for both of their sakes, like, if this wedding is happening, you should get over yourself, and you not showing up is just going to elongate this problem.
Right.
So if you want to,
she's not even getting that opportunity.
Right. So you need to invite her to give her the opportunity. And then if she doesn't show up after that, that's her choice. But you need to invite her.
The not inviting her, though, was, again, another mistake by sister. Do you support me marrying Derek? She said no. The correct answer to this question was, I'm concerned about the setup of this marriage, right? She needed to just not answer that. I'm not advocating that she lie. I'm dusting off a classic here, okay? Discretion is the better part of valor. Sister was brave enough to be aggressive about this. And she was, I think, thinking about the best interest of her sister to an extent. Maybe she was biased by what Jake said, some wedding jealousy. But this is a special operation. You have someone drunk and in love. I think we've all been in the situation where we've known someone for 6 months and they appear perfect to us. This is just part of falling in love with someone. And it's a great fucking feeling. It's the thing I'm most addicted to. I fucking love it so much. Somebody love me. But she did not approach these conversations well. She approached them, and this is where I meet Jake at, I think ego was in the way. I think she was, in fact, kind of being like, yeah, I'm sister and I know what's up. And it's like, you have to come from a place of care here.
She has so many good objections, and this is why I do think that some jealousy is at play. So much of her objections are like trying to sell her on the concept of not getting married yet. Don't do it yet. And it's not, to me, like the way that the sister wrote it. Granted, we are seeing this through the eyes of the sister that was offended by this. But what we have to work with here, it's just some weird arguments she's bringing to the table. I think that she has so many good ones, and going with, you might meet somebody that you like more. That's like bargaining with fate to me. If that's an argument you're bringing to somebody who's ready to get married to somebody, you're not winning with that. So
super shitty.
You're either just bad at communicating, or you have some complicated feelings here that aren't all coming from a great place. And I just think that my top piece of advice here is, just invite her. You both need to get over yourselves a little bit and set up a situation where you might be able to get past this. Because if you don't invite her, or you invite her and she doesn't show up, this whole thing's going to be a fucking mess. So you have to do your part and try to avoid that.
I'm with you on inviting her. I don't think that makes OP an asshole or not, but I do think it's the better thing to do. IMO Throw, top dissenting comment. Your sister may have been hardcore, but her expressing concern here was a way of expressing care for you. She wants to make sure you don't accidentally make a life-altering mistake by rushing in too quickly, which you are. See, I think my issue with that is she might have been trying to express care, but she was actually expressing ego and control. And I'm better than you. This is a problem of advice. The advice giver gets to be better than the advice taker. And I think a lot of people fall into this trap, right? Like you ask someone for advice and they give it to you, great. But a lot of people give advice unsolicited. And what that really is puffery. It's saying, I know more than you.
Great
and I'm
word.
now telling you what to do. And that's how Sister came off. And guess what? It didn't fucking work. Because the better part of valor isn't the bravery, it's the fucking discretion.
He said it again.
The judgment. I love that phrase.
Here's a good comment, though.
Hit us.
The fact that he is ready to allow for estrangement is very concerning. Derek.
Well, and that person goes on. Narcissists and abusers like to isolate their victims. This is my concern regarding him encouraging the rift with her sister.
That's so true.
That is 100% true. I can speak to that very
About
well.
narcs, yeah.
But you're also like, if he doesn't do that, then he's not supporting her decision because you're the one who started this estrangement.
No, but he should say it to her, like, look, maybe we should try and work this out.
I mean, yeah.
It's her sister.
Yeah.
She has it's like she has the control.
She has to
It's her
lead.
fucking
She's leading the
sister.
dance on this, and he's a
Thank
fucking,
you.
he's
Well
a
put.
How old is he again? 24?
He's 30. He's 30.
Wait, he's 30?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
24.
I completely missed that. Okay, that is.
I think this is a terrible idea.
This is
I
bad.
agree with a 26-year-old sister. This is no good.
Yeah.
But the reality is that guess what? Sometimes marriages that happen after 6 months do work out. They do. I've met people like this.
No,
about married
they
and
totally can.
It happens.
course.
I read the situation and I somehow just didn't register he's 30. I thought these were both two 24-year-olds like Romeo and Juliet and all over themselves, sticky with their excited love. But oh god, yes, 6 months, 6-year age gap, like after
He should
6
know
months.
better.
And if you're 30, then I am on your camp, Shannon. He should have dissuaded her from dissolving this relationship with her sister. If they were both in their mid-20s, I wouldn't really expect him to know what the fuck to do. But you've got a few years on you, man. Like, I'm 32. I remember what it's like to be 30. You're smart enough to know that you should try to get your partner to avoid ruining her relationship with her sister for the rest of her life.
And, I understand that the sister did not go about it the right way. I really think that the way she approached it was awful. I think we can all agree on that. But, she is 26. I know that is a full-grown adult, but I remember I've had issues with my sister's parts of her relationship throughout the years too. And, all throughout our 20s, there was few times where I had to approach it with her. And I'm sure at a younger age, I definitely didn't approach it in a great way.
Sure.
And maybe was coming at it more from my perspective instead of care for her. And it could have come off as more like ego based. And I don't know, a lot of times you don't really know how to handle these situations because also at that age, I hadn't really even been in a relationship myself. And I used to give actually pretty shitty advice to my friends, looking back now. Some of the advice I would give to my friends before I was ever in a real relationship was always just just leave him, just get another apartment in the city and you can just move out and just tell him that day.
Yeah.
And she literally did that and it was the worst decision ever. I mean, they ended up back in together, but I was like, yes, girl, that's it. That's the one.
Nothing comes with more confidence and less life experience tied to it than early 20 relationship advice.
Oh my God,
The
I
shit that
know.
guys will advise to each other between 20 or 18 to 25 in relationships of bro, if you even let her see you show weakness, she'll never respect you again. Shit like that. Just you fucking idiots.
Totally.
AITA for not inviting my unsupportive sister to my wedding. I'm actually looking for a no assholes here. Maybe that's a hard sell, but I guess when I look at the sister, she is inept. I thought you spoke to that though, Shannon. She's 26. This is something that needed to be handled with like pretty surgical precision. This was like emotional SWAT team shit.
It's probably terrifying to see your little sister, who's 2 years younger than you, about to marry a dude who's 4 years older than you after 6 months. That is, I have a lot more sympathy having that finally click in my head, because for whatever reason, I was just like, well, there's no way a 30-fucking-year-old could be in this position with a 24-year-old.
Right.
But here we are. That's really upsetting.
Her crime is strongly consider the marriage, which actually doesn't seem that egotistical. And then, yeah, it was stupid for her to say you could meet people you loved more. But also, that's not a direct attack on Derek.
It's not an attack on Derek. It's just a bad communication. Like you're not using all the ammo available to you here.
There you go.
So you should have like talked this out with somebody first.
Oh yeah, it sounds like she really went in hot without I'll free ball it.
And I can see how the sister who's newly engaged and is so excited, so in love, to just like get like a congratulations and then get all of this from her sister. Like I can see how that would be super bumming.
And she reacted accordingly. The older sister showed no grace. The younger sister got very hurt. You know, she's naive as shit. You know what? She's going to pay for her crimes. That's the thing. She'll pay for this. She just
Derek,
will.
baby. I'm your whole life now.
Yeah. Welcome to Derek Land. He's the king.
Derek is the name of a 30-year-old guy that would marry a 24-year-old after dating them for 6 months. That is a Derek move.
The logistical nightmare, the inevitable divorce, the separation of the property.
Hey, maybe it's magic. Maybe old Derek's a real guy. Yeah, I think we've had any no assholes here situations go like this before, where things could have been handled differently, but it ultimately just comes to communication breakdown. And this, look, hey kids, this is why you get a communications degree.
There,
right?
yeah, is that what they teach you?
You avoid this shit with a communications
Welcome to Derek
degree.
101. Now, your sister will inevitably try to marry Derek. This happens to all human beings.
What do we do when a Derek shows up, class? We stonewall him. That's right. No Derek's in this house.
Yeah, I mean, is anybody differing? Are we ready to meet on this?
Yeah, I think no assholes here.
I think it's
AITA for
What
not
do you
inviting.
think?
It's an NIH.
Oh, okay, it is.
AITA for not inviting my unsupportive sister to my wedding.
You shouldn't invite her.
Oh, right. I don't know if Derek's here or what, but guys, thanks so much for listening.
I'm Derek's dad.
Oh, you're Derek's dad.
God.
How old is your wife, sir?
She's 5 years older than I am.
Oh, I don't want to know what's going on in your house.
Oh, no, you don't.
Just because your voice, not because your age
we're
gap.
very happy. I work at a library, and I've trained my voice to be very low.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
easy to understand.
a great adaptation.
My son, it's easier to understand even though it's low. My son is he's impulsive and he makes bad decisions. I'm against the wedding too.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Did you communicate that to him?
I'm trying to figure out the right way to have that discussion.
Well, he can't communicate because he can't hear him.
No, he can hear me. You can hear me right now, right?
Well, yeah, but you're speaking into a microphone, sir.
No, I'm not. It looks like I am. I'm right.
It's your toxical.
This is my toxical.
Oh my God, there's something behind you.
That's my lemur.
Oh, he's tame. Wow, he's a good boy.
Yes, I've worked very hard with this lemur.
All right, guys, that's the show.
My name's Roger. You didn't ask, but it's Roger.
Okay, thank you, Roger. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Roger wins again.
Did Roger win another time?